This is a Dirt Trax exclusive.
There's a manufacturer that we've been working with for a while now who really has, upped their game over the past few years, changed a lot about who they are and what they do, while at the same time,
kind of staying the same.
keeping the basics, which are, their hallmarks of who they are.
Moving forward, but staying the same. And obviously, we are talking about Honda. So one of the things to know about Honda is that they have quite a different lineup of models in Canada versus the US. And in fact, some of the models that are the same actually have different names. You really do need to check the website to make sure what model is available and isn't.
So let's talk about ATVs first. And right at the very base, USA only, the Rubicon is still available, which is a 229cc, 2x4, smaller size platform. Awesome little ATV. Not available in Canada anymore, but it is a great product in the US.
Interestingly, they even offered in two versions.
Yes.
Full manual and electric shift manual. And I thought that was really interesting because it starts at $4,850 in the US, so under $5,000. Yeah, for a Honda ATV that, while small, is still a real ATV.
And it'll be here until the next ice age.
That's right.
Moving on, the Rancher 420, which really is a bread and butter for Honda. This is a dang reliable, long-lasting. You see Ranchers all the time, everywhere.
And if somebody says Honda ATV, in your mind you automatically picture a Rancher. Everybody does. Yeah,
absolutely. So it's still that same straight axle rear end in Canada. In the US, you can actually get a model that has IRS on it, which increases the suspension travel. So it's 6.7 inches of travel on the non-IRS, and then 7.3 and 8.5 inch on IRS models, as well as a slightly larger braking surface, and ground clearance does go up a couple of inches.
You get manual, 5-speed manual, auto clutch, or DCT options. You get 2 and 4x4 options, so there's a 2-wheel drive only and a 4x4. And then you do get EPS on the highest trim level, and they start at $62.49, which again, that's a pretty good entry-level price.
When we move up from this level of Rancher, we go to the Foreman. And the Foreman is just really, yes, it's slightly different, but the big difference here is you go from 420 to 520 cc's. So you get the bigger engine.
And this is, the Foreman was their latest update, really.
And it looks really good. It's a good looking ATV.
The Rubicon was their latest update, but I remember when the Foreman Rubicon 4x4 EPS came out, and it was like, this is a really good ATV. This thing rides good and it handles good.
Now it's interesting, Canada only has the base non-EPS model. In the USA, you can get both the 4x4 and then the 4x4 EPS model. So it's a great, still a swing arm rear suspension. Something that changes it from the Rancher is that you go up 1 inch in tire diameter. You go to a 25-inch tire from a 24, which does actually give it, I know 1 inch doesn't seem like a lot, but it does make that ATV seem a little bit bigger.
Yeah, for sure.
Next up, we've got the Foreman Rubicon in the USA and the Rubicon in Canada. Now, they're all the same
vehicles.
All the same thing. It's just in the USA, they call it the Foreman Rubicon.
This model gets shiftable 4x4 and EPS standard on all models.
It's still that same 520 as you find in the Foreman across the entire lineup, except for the highest one. Obviously, we'll talk about that at the end. But that 520 motor is reliable and strong. You can get it in the DCT dual clutch transmission, IRS EPS. You can get it in a 520 Deluxe, and then obviously there's the Rubicon 700 that we'll talk about after.
Yeah, interestingly, the Foreman Rubicon in the US, that is Honda's first model that only comes as an IRS. They don't offer any solid rear axles. That ATV is a solid contender in the 550 class, 500, 550 class, and it's pretty impressive. The base in the US here is $97.50, so under 10 grand for the base model that, again, has 4x4 and EPS standard on the base model. That's a really good price. Now, the last most confusing model, I think,
used to be a Rincon, I believe.
Used to be a Rincon, now it's called the Rubicon. They just call it the Rubicon 4x4.
Yeah.
That's the official name.
It's a 700.
Well, it's a 675.
Yes.
But they call it a 700. Independent rear suspension. This is the one with a 3-speed car-style automatic transmission with a locking torque converter.
Yeah, hydraulic torque converter, 3-speed.
Yep.
And you can actually find this engine in one of the Pioneers as well, which is kind of interesting. So it's not just a standalone, it is used elsewhere.
There's two more ATVs we'll just quickly mention, and that is the TRX 250X and the TRX 90X for the kids.
Yes. Good ATVs, awesome reliability. If you want something that's going to be around forever, the Honda is the way to go. So moving on from there, obviously we go to side-by-sides, and it is the Pioneer lineup, which is very deep in the USA. There's a lot of options here. In Canada, there's a few less options, but we're gonna walk through all of the differences. And right at the, I'm not gonna say at the bottom, because honestly, it's one of the most fun little side-by-sides to ride, is the Pioneer 520. And this thing is 50 inches wide. Let's keep that in mind, like 50-inch wide, rec utility, has a box on it. This is a cool little side-by-side, and it's got that 520, it is gear on gear. So you're talking about the only 2-seat gear on gear, like rec utility, sport utility, whatever you want to call that, side-by-side in the entire industry.
And I mean, it's a great deal. It's 11,000 bucks. It only comes in one model. This one, they've updated. It has a box. It's really nice looking, actually. It's very sporty looking. So the Pioneer 520 is where you start, but honestly, it's a great side-by-side.
Okay, so when we move up from here, we've got the 700 Pioneer. Comes in a base, a deluxe, and a forest model. Power steering on everything except the base model. And then in 704, which is the 2-row, you also get base, deluxe, and forest. Power steering on all but the base, and you got 7.9 inches of travel in the front, 9.1 inches out back. It does have that same Rubicon 700 hydraulic torque converter, 3-speed transmission. So this is where that engine is repeated.
Yeah. So the Pioneer 700 is sort of your entry level into full size side-by-sides. From there, you move up to the top of the line rec utility side-by-sides from Honda, and those are obviously the Pioneer 1000s.
Yeah, we start at the 1000, which comes right from the factory with 2,500 pounds towing and a 1,000-pound box capacity. Now, you can get it in deluxe, forest, and trail models. Trail gets you a 4,500-pound winch. 6-speed DCT transmission is in these vehicles, and you get 10.6 inches of travel up front, 10 inches in the rear, and it does come with 27-inch tires, which makes it look a little bit beefier. It has a stance to it, and you look and you go, oh, this is a nice looking
side-by-side. Now, the next one you move up to, and this is where this lineup gets kind of confusing, there's a 2-seat.
Yeah.
Then you move up to the 5-seat, which is the same basic front clip of the vehicle with that 2-seat convertible rear. But what was weird about it is that one has a bench seat in the front. The other one has 2 bucket seats in the front. So there's a big difference there between those two models, not just the rear seats. There's actually something different up front.
And the 1005 is probably my Honda of choice when it comes to the Pioneers, because having those 2 convertible rear seats, you can still get the box to tilt, which is really impressive.
That's the feature right there. Nobody else is doing that.
No, and so the convertible rear seats that fold down into the bed and still give you a usable bed, sure, people will say, well, yeah, but there's some cracks and stuff, and if I put dirt in there, it's like, so put a small tarp in before you do it. Put one of the Honda bed liners in before you throw stuff in there.
If you got a need for 5 seats, but you don't always have a need for 5 seats, this is your choice. And again, Honda reliability, Honda fuel clutch transmission in this one.
Yeah.
So then we come to the Pioneer 1000 6-seater, and this is one of the newer models for Honda. It is basically exactly what it sounds. It's basically for those guys who need to get a bunch of people in and out of a job site, really, is what it's for.
With a box capacity.
With a box, or if you're going into a hunt camp a couple times a year and you need to take all your buddies with all your gear, this is what it's for. So now we finally get to the fun part of Honda's. I mean, there's a lot of fun stuff in Honda's lineup, but this is just for fun. There's no work being done here.
Nope.
And that is the Talon line. And this one also has a lot of models and a lot of options in those models.
Pretty deep. In Canada, just be aware that there's very limited Talon models, but you still can get one. And then in the US, we're going to go through all of the different variations here, which there is everything from 2-seat to 4-seat. There's everything from 64 to 68-inch wide, 3-link rear suspension, 4-link rear suspension, and different travel options. One thing to keep in mind is that every single option of Talon, in the United States at least, is available in the base model, which traditionally comes with like a nice, I believe, Show-A-Shock package. And then it's also available in the Fox Live Valve Premium version for all of them. You just need to check the specs on the website to figure out exactly what it is and go in and see one at your dealership.
Now we move on to the Talon R. And normally when you add the letter, it means a higher package. With Honda, it's the opposite. But this is 68 inches wide, 68 and a half inches wide, but it's also a different rear suspension. So this is not the same platform as the X models.
It's a 4-link rear end.
Yeah, and there's other companies doing this, but I honestly, I gotta be honest, I did not expect this from Honda. I figured Honda would stick with the X models and just go with it forever. To come up with a whole other sport side-by-side platform is pretty progressive for Honda.
In the R, we go from the RS to the R, again, it's a shock option. And then if you want to go to the full 4-seat, there is only one option here, which is the 1000R4 Fox Live valve.
Right.
So if you want 4 people in the R, 68 inches wide, 20 inches of suspension out back, 17 up front.
One thing I want to talk about and just quickly cover is that, like you said, Honda gets a lot of flack for not coming out with stuff year after year after year, and not like a new ATV. Honda doesn't use its customers for R&D. They don't sell you a vehicle that's not 100% sorted out.
And I like what you said. They don't use their customers for R&D.
Yeah.
And I think that, like you said, the hallmark here and the thing to take away is if you want rock solid reliability, you want that ATV to be there. How many people have we seen who have 60,000 miles?
We haven't seen anybody with any other brand that has 60,000 miles, or the one guy had 120,000 kilometers, which is like almost 70,000
kilometers
Yeah.
on an ATV, same block. He rebuilt a lot of the suspension components and a whole bunch of other parts and pieces, but this vehicle is still going.
Yeah.
I mean, show me some other brands that have done that. You're not going to find them. Honda is reliable as the day is long, and if you want that reliability, you buy a Honda.
Make sure to subscribe and comment below for real interaction with the Dirt Trax crew.